Good evening, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Big Man on Campus Sports Betting Podcast. This is the National Championship Game preview, and I am your host, the Big Man on Campus. Glad to be back here on a Monday. I hope you're having a great day. The worst day of the year because it means college basketball at around midnight tonight will be over, and we'll have to wait an arduous 5 months, actually 6, 7, or 8 months till the season starts. But it all has to come to an end. And as the great whoever said, don't cry because it's gone. Don't smile because it happened, or whatever the hell it is. Either way, it's a sad time. But we smile because summer is coming. Football will be here before we know it. And then it'll be back to basketball for another glorious 5-6 months. So we have to get to the game tonight. We'll break it down here in just a second. We'll take a look at the total, the side, and some props, see if we can find some winners. Thanks for joining me. Make sure you hit the like button if you're in here. Say hello in the chat. And let's get this thing going here. Donnie, right side, will join us in about 10 minutes. He'll join us to give his opinion on tonight's game, and we'll chat with Donnie a little bit about his comments on Saturday that he felt the need to subtweet me about. And, we'll throw some things around, see what sticks. Also, please, guys, support our sponsor. It's MyBookie. I want to tell you about MyBookie. Obviously, right now, some great things going on. You got the tournament ending tonight, but you have the Champions League. They continue on. The Masters is coming up this week. NBA and NHL playoffs. Soon we'll be talking about preseason football. We get the NFL draft and the NBA draft. You got the MLB season. You got Summer League basketball. You got so many great things coming up. So it's important that you have a book that can handle those selections. If you're looking for a new book, you're looking to get into sports betting, or you're just looking for a change, make sure MyBookie is one you take a look at. From great lines to quick payouts to live casino games to Bitcoin deposits and great bonuses, MyBookie has you covered. And they also have a thing called Bet Points. Every time you make a bet, you get bet points. As you accrue bet points, you can use those points to get cash and prizes, anything from cigars to trips to gift cards. You can redeem those points for real things. That's something MyBookie does that not many other places do. If you want to get on board with MyBookie like I have and many others have, go to mybookie.ag. In the promo code box when you open your account, use promo code BMOC. Again, BMOC. Get yourself a 50% deposit bonus. So again, if you have a new account and you get MyBookie, 50% deposit bonus. So you put $500 in there, they're going to give you $250 absolutely free to wager on the games. That is up to $1,000 and only applies to new accounts. But do what I did and many other people did. Get in the game with MyBookie now. Use promo code BMOC. Also, another great thing about MyBookie is you can cash in for referring your friends. They'll give you bonuses, all sorts of great things when you tell your friends. So like me, you can get in the game, join MyBookie, and get paid to refer friends. All that stuff can be done very easily. Great customer service. It's mybookie.com. Check it out. mybookie.com. Use promo code BMOC. Let's get into the show. Let's do it. We'll get to the game right now. Let's welcome some people in here. Do me a favor, guys. Retweet the show on Twitter. Please retweet the show on Twitter. Ferdinando, Adam, Kevin, James, Brad, Brendan, AJ, Shadow, Rusty, Jordan, Aaron, Matt, Jeff, Adam, Corey, Melvin, KD, BitXN. Thanks for checking out the show. Big Man, I opened an account, but they only wanted to let me bet $25 on WrestleMania. You know what I did? I deposit 10x the amount on another sports book. Well, you should have contacted customer service. Maybe there was an issue, except though you wanted to be disloyal and go somewhere else. Come on, brother. You got to contact customer service. All I do is promote them. But maybe you should have contacted customer service. Tommy S., thanks for watching. Daniel Thiel, same to you. All right, guys, let's get into the show. Let's go down to the one game we have left, and it's Texas Tech and Virginia. Virginia is a 1-point favorite currently. And the total here, I'm sorry, 1.5-point favorite. My apologies. The total here is 118.5. You're starting to see some money come in on the over. Public likes the over. I'm going to come out and say it right now. I like the under in this game. I think first to 60 will win this game. It's that simple. You look at right now the Texas Tech Red Raiders, and look, to me, Chris Beard is basically shown everyone in America that when it comes to coaching, he is as good as it gets. A lot of people will bring up Bill Self and Mike Krzyzewski and Roy Williams and John Calipari. Not me. To me, the three best coaches in the country, if you ask me, are Mark Few, Chris Beard, and Jay Wright. John Beilein will be in there as well. Those guys are as good as it gets. And then I'd also throw Tony Bennett in there. These are guys that know how to recruit. They know how to coach from game to game. They know how to use a game plan to get to the Final Four and to win games when it matters. Chris Beard not only has done that, but he's done it in a very short period of time. He's done it with 2- and 3-star recruits. You look at both these teams, neither of which have high-level players on them. Look, I love the top 100. I love the top 60. I love looking at recruiting. But at the end of the day, recruiting is only for motivation. It means nothing at all in the grand scheme of things. Some of the great players we've ever seen at the college level, the NBA level, some of which didn't even go to college. Second of all, most of the kids were not big recruits. A guy named Stephen Curry was not a big recruit. He is a guy that worked hard and became a great recruit. You look at tonight, Jared Culver, Ty Jerome, all these guys, they were good players. They weren't anything great. You look at tonight, both these teams are very similar. It's very difficult to find something to exploit. But the one thing that I feel that can be exploited right now is the fact that Texas Tech is just playing some unbelievable basketball. And I'll take talent in this kind of game over luck or just lucking out or whatever. You look at how good Texas Tech is defensively. In fact, over the last 18 years, there's no team with a better defensive efficiency in Ken Palm ratings than Texas Tech. I've watched and literally, to be honest, obsessed over defense. I love defense. I love teams that put a big acumen into playing it, a team that really cares about it. And I can honestly say that I've never seen a defense better than Texas Tech's. I'm not giving my opinion. I'm stating true fact. When it comes down to it, there's been no better statistical defense in America than Texas Tech. The way they switch, the way they get back, the way they, plug gaps, the way they limit you into getting in the paint, the way they get you off the three-point line, the size, the length, everything about them is defense. And everything about them is coaching. You have to coach defense. You have to get kids to want to play defense. It's not just something that you teach. You modify and you get kids that can play defense already. I think tonight Virginia is going to have very tough time scoring a basketball. They just don't have that many options on the offensive end. You look at right now, look, DeAndre Hunter hasn't played well in this tournament. Kyle Guy's had his struggles. I think Ty Jerome's going to have to score 25 points. I believe that. I look at the three-point line. You look at against Michigan State and Gonzaga, this Texas Tech defense has allowed those opponents to shoot 18 for 50 from three. I'm sorry, 14 for 50 from three. That's 28% from the three-point line. That's how Virginia scores a lot of the time. There's very few things that these teams do differently. They both go slow. They both slow it on defense. They both are terrific defensively. But I just look at Texas Tech right now, and I'm not wanting to step in front of this group. I look at the total, and I also say to myself, I just don't know how it gets over. I just don't. I think this game is very similar to the game the other night for Texas Tech, where, this game is played, Maybe one team gets to 60 and the other team's in the 50s. Look, if you like offense, I think we all are well aware this is not the game for you. It just isn't. I think this game is 58, 54, something like that, 60, 55. I really believe this is, I would be surprised if anyone gets to 60. I just don't see it. Unless both these teams go off from three, which we can't really handicap that. I hate to be rudimentary in the breakdown, but I just don't see a lot of points here. And I'm not willing. And again, if you get guys in here, they're going to give you a 3-hour breakdown of this game. There's just not a lot to break down. We've talked about these teams ad nauseum. We know what these teams are. To me, this game is a complete coin flip. Some of these guys you'll see, they're giving their opinion on these games. I saw a guy today say he thought the true line was 3. Virginia was -3. I mean, that's ridiculous. Right now, the line's a pick 'em. It's that simple. The fact that Texas Tech was an underdog was quite interesting to me. I think Texas Tech continues to use the underdog mentality in these games. I mean, they've been an underdog in every game. I mean, it's that simple. They were an underdog against Michigan State. They were an underdog against Gonzaga. They've been an underdog recently, and they're using it, I think, and they're going to use it again tonight. I'm not interested in stepping in front of this team defensively. Let's go through a couple comments here. What do we got here? A lot of hedge questions. Oh, man. This is only the third time in the last 13 years that both teams have a lottery pick on both teams. I'm not sure if both teams have a lottery pick. I don't think DeAndre Hunter at this point. I think he's a top 15 pick. He probably will be a lottery pick, but I've heard people say that he's hurt himself in this tournament. I think he's still very raw and he has the ability to be that. But yeah, that's a good point. It's definitely interesting. But most of these teams are going to win through the ability of their supporting cast to me. Would you hedge if you were holding that dude's $300,000 ticket? Yeah. Are you kidding? If I was a billionaire, I wouldn't, but I also wouldn't be betting $1,500. According to the report, the kid that bet that, that's about as high as he bets, $1,500 on the future. Would I hedge? Yeah, and in fact, if you know me personally, you know that I bought on PropSwap a 35-1 ticket on Texas Tech. I unfortunately sold the ticket before the Gonzaga game. I mean, it is what it is, right? That will be, to me, one of the great that will be one of the great grave mistakes that I've ever made in sports betting. It just is. It's something that I surely regret. But I didn't think that they could beat Gonzaga. I really didn't. They were big underdogs in the game, and for me, it's just something that I had to do. I would have made a lot of money. Put it that way. It was a nice future, man. I'd have made like over $5K. I mean, it was a nice wager. It really was. And again, it's one of the grave mistakes that I've made in sports betting. I didn't think they could beat Gonzaga. I really didn't. And I was on PropSwap, and I thought to myself, you know what? I got to get rid of this thing. And now it sucks because I had a Virginia ticket that I bet out IFBC in August. I would have had Virginia and Texas Tech in the final. I wouldn't have had to do jack shit. I could have sat there. I would have definitely drank by myself, and I would have rooted it in. But unfortunately, the grave mistake I made was getting rid of the ticket before Gonzaga. Let's bring in our good friend. We haven't talked to him in a long time. It's Donnie right side. Donnie, what's happening?
What's good, man? What are you hedging tickets already over here? What's going on?
No, I hedged it. I got rid of the ticket about when Texas Tech played Gonzaga. I had
to actually buy that for. What was the ticket for?
35-1.
and log into this chat here and have some fun.
Yeah, it was a great ticket, man. But what are you gonna do? But so Donnie, obviously right now there's not a ton to say. We've pretty much capped these teams ad nauseum. We all know what these teams do. I don't think neither of these teams get to 60. I just think first to 60 wins. I will say this also: if you actually believe Tariq Owens is injured, I have a house in Iowa on the beach to sell you.
Dude, he's got to be injured though. Come on,
he's not. 100%. He's not playing. There's no way.
He will 100% play in this game. There's no doubt. But when you go down with an injury like that, if you play in that game, hold on. When you play and you injure your ankle, you can get off a little bit on having like some adrenaline. Tape me up. Let me see if I can get in there. He comes in for a couple minutes. You've twisted your ankle before. The next day, that thing is a balloon. It's swelling up. It's sore. It's going to be stiff. Now, again, he's going to play in this game. But I think it does affect him a little bit in this one.
Yeah, I think you're onto something. I think he's definitely hurt. But if you actually think he's not playing.
Oh, he's playing.
Yeah, does it bother me? No, not at all. Funny B, if a 5K miss is your gravest mistake ever, you're either betting $10 a game or the wisest person ever. When you bet $300 a game, and I'm not some fucking shithead that has a Rolls Royce SUV, and I don't lie. I don't come out and act like I'm something I'm not. I'm a gambler. I grind, and that's what we do. That's why Donnie and I do what we do. We're not like anyone that different. We're the same as all of you. A mistake is when a team's in the final and I let the ticket go 2 games ago and I could have kept it. Yeah, that is a great mistake to me. And I'm going to admit that. Donnie, you'd have to agree. That's pretty great.
No, ask me at any time, Jeff. Whenever you've called me up at any moment and said, I got this ticket, what should I do here? What is always my advice? Every time. I hedge everything. Yeah. Everything.
I made some decent money on it. I made way more money than the ticket cost, but it's still something that bothers me, especially because the cap that I made was terrific.
But how about look at the guy tonight, though, Jeff? What is it, 135 or whatever it's on the line?
Yeah.
And you're right. The person that says, because I always like it, let it ride, man. Have some balls, let it ride. There's no way in hell, number one, I'm letting that ride. Because, again, more likely I have a mortgage, I have a kid, I have a wife. So I'd rather pocket that as opposed to have that rush. And the person who is letting it ride, Jeff, if they lose that ticket, they're going to sleep good because they probably get another few $100,000 in the bank anyway.
Yeah, look, I'm not I've never claimed to be some, rich human being. I need to grind away just like everybody else.
Yes.
I'm not in this for the thrill of fucking victory. I'm in this, because this is how, we do things. I'm not some half-assed guy that just, has a future on every team. And then when I win, cats me out. Doesn't work like that. I thought the cap was terrific. I've talked Texas Tech up all year. When everyone else was off the board with this team, I stayed with them. I just wish I would have stayed with them a bit longer. And again, to me, it is a great mistake because I have talked about them for so long and it sucks. Donnie, a lot of people enjoying the fact that you're back. I will say one of the best moments of my career with doing all this was the Right Side of Campus. I missed doing that show. We had some great arguments on there. And we're going to get to one in just a second. There's not a ton of props on this game. Obviously, you're not going to have the props like you do in the Super Bowl or, any other game. There are some great player props. And I'll tell you this, I think, like I said before, I think Ty Jerome's going to have a big game here. I really do. But, Donnie, let me ask you, do you have any interest in stepping in front of Texas Tech? This team is, again, you're a basketball guy. You've watched it for many years. I can't say I've ever seen a team better on defense than them. It's quite amazing.
Pushing you to the outside. And you're right, because I heard your breakdown earlier coming in. I think you're right on this. If you match both of these teams up and say who has more outlets to score, I think you're right with Texas Tech. I just think, there's so few points in this game. You're talking about 117.5, 118. So if we take a look at a normal game, 145, 155, high scoring 160. Does it just come down to who's going to make more free throws or, more three-point shots? Because obviously you got Mooney and Moretti who can fire. And then you have Ty Jerome and Kyle Guy on the one side. Sometimes I think it comes down. Let me ask you, Jeff, in the last 2 games, because I had, got really lucky with Virginia over Purdue, And then I had the same ticket coming back with Virginia, who once they hit 57-47, the same way, Jeff, they had like a 7 or 8 point lead midway through the second half versus Purdue and let that collapse happen both times in those games. Does that stick in your mind in this? You just say, hey, if you're going to take Virginia, it's -1.5. You're only worried about winning the game anyway. But if there was one team, Jeff, that was built to close teams out when you had an 8-10 point lead with like 5 to go, it would be Virginia. I can't believe
it usually is. I will say this. I thought the play of the game the other night was the moment Ty Jerome went out with about 4 minutes to go with his 4th foul. It was a hideous foul committed by him in the backcourt. It was about 60 feet away from the basket. It was a bad, bad foul. And listen, Donnie, I don't think we need anyone to tell us this, but Virginia doesn't have a lot of thoroughfares to score the basketball. They just don't. They don't play with enough tenacity up the court. They definitely slow it down and look for shots, and he wasn't there. I mean, look at some of the shots he made the other night, Donnie. I mean, he was making some crazy shots, but yeah, it was hurt. It hurt because at that 10-point lead, you had kind of thought at that point, okay, let's kind of finish this out, win by 14. Before you knew it, they couldn't score the basketball. If you do that tonight, look, if Texas Tech goes up early in this game, let's say 28-19, I think the game's over. I just don't think Texas Tech's efficient enough, especially on defense, where you're just not going to have a ton of possessions in this game to really warrant it. I think the only way this game goes over the numbers if we obviously get some sort of crazy 3-point fest. But as I said earlier, Donnie, I mean, in the last 2 games, Texas Tech has allowed opponents to shoot 14 for 50 from 3. And that is as good as it gets.
They went to a murderer's row of teams just to get here as is. So they're tough. They're going to be ready to go. The one interesting part I want to bring up too, Jeff, in that game Saturday night, which I had a problem with. All right. Like, it's not your center. There's not 9 minutes to go. Why are you taking Ty Jerome out anyway with 4 fouls? You could so let me get this straight. If nobody would have scored the next minute and a half and you're down under 2 minutes or 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go and you still have a 9-point lead and Jerome fouls out, I think I can live with that. But the fact that you have all the momentum, what were you saving him for? To come back with a minute left? I couldn't even understand that. If there was 10 minutes, yes, save him for a couple minutes. Under 5 minutes, if you have 4, why are you not playing?
I can't disagree with you. I was actually watching the game with Ryan, who Donnie, and we were both kind of discussing the same point. I mean, why was he taken out of the game? I said to Ryan, I said, look, if he fouls out, he fouls out.
Yes.
He needs to be in the game. He had 24 points. I didn't understand that thought process either. Donnie, do you agree that Chris Beard's a top 3 coach in the country?
I love Chris Beard. I mean, how do you gauge, like, to me and you, we have the same like mindset. How do you gauge a good coach? Is it the guy that gets the top 10 recruiting class every single season? Or is it the guy that says, I'll take you from a transfer. I'll take you from like South Dakota. I'll take the guys who stuck around. We're going to play good defense and get after it. You're going to believe me. Those are the good coaches. John Calipari, you get the best one. Coach K, is he a great coach? Of course he is. But it's a lot easier if you're getting the top classes. So I love Chris Beard.
No, he is so good. And that's why I made the comment earlier. The best coaches in the country to me are in no order: Jay Wright, Mark Few, Beard, Bennett, and Beeline.
Yeah, and we can go down to the Rick Birds of the world and like all that stuff. But I agree with you that I love the coaches that don't get that. And you're right. You brought up early in the telecast as well. Jay Wright. Villanova is a national power. Villanova. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I mean, you look at last year. I mean, the type of player that he lost. I mean, you lose Justin Gray last year, Zaire Smith, Zach Smith, Naeem Stevenson, Keenan Evans. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, you bring in these guys who, let's be honest, I mean, this Texas Tech team is not very deep either. I mean, they're not incredibly deep. It's amazing, I think. I'm blown away at just how impressive this team's been. One prop that I do kind of like, I think Jerome has a big game. He's had some big games recently. I think his point total is 14. I'm looking at going over that number. I think I think he's going to have a big game for them to win this thing. I just do. Donnie, if you were Chris Beard, would you now keep in mind he's got a few seniors on this team. Culver is as good as gone. Jared Culver is a lottery pick. Mooney's gone. Brendan Francis is gone. Tariq Owens is gone. Mooney's gone. Now, there aren't really many jobs open. You got to stay, right, at Texas Tech?
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, everybody's a businessman, and if you're at Texas Tech, you what's your next always come up? You want to strike while like the iron's hot. Is it going to get better for Chris Beard at Texas Tech than it is right now? Like, let's just say if he loses, actually, you know what? It's a two-sided question. If he loses the national championship, Jeff, I actually get out of town and take the big payday. But if you win the national championship at Texas Tech, A, what are they going to do for you? Double your salary, and B, you're going to be there for at least, 15 or 20 years if you want to? So that's the way I would handle it. It's
a pretty good program at this point. I mean, it's in a good conference.
Yeah.
I think the only thing you're holding out hope for is, do you want to go to UNC or wherever? But you have to figure they'd hire from within anyway, and they already have someone kind of being, grabbed. So I think, nowadays the UCLA job isn't as cool as it used to be.
Yeah, what's up with UCLA not having like charter jets and stuff? Like, what happened to the UCLA program? My goodness. I mean, Gonzaga takes charters now.
If I was UCLA, I would throw the fucking book at Chris Beard. I would do whatever I had to do to get him. If it meant paying him $10 million a year, I'd do it. Like, seriously. And, I mean, Chris Beard has, like, I think teenage girls. I think they're in their teens. I mean, you got to figure that'd be a great place to live. As far as the job, I mean, I think, what job would you rather have, Donnie? If you're, would you rather live in
Texas? I would take number one. UCLA is probably going to double your wage, and number two, you have a recruiting advantage being at UCLA. At least you used to have it, but I'm sure that could probably return quickly with a good basketball coach. It's just about what your ceiling is, because if you go to UCLA, they're going to expect you to win. Yes, like it's John Wooden days, but at Texas Tech, I don't know if it gets any better. That's all I'm saying. Like, what happens if next 4 or 5 years goes by and they're just an okay team? Whoa, what happened to Chris Beard? That's not his fault. Like, what he's doing at Texas Tech. Has anybody ever done this at Texas Tech? No shot. You know what I mean? So I think this is as good as it gets for him. And again, if he wins the title, be king there. I'm going to retire in this place and unload the vault for me. But if I lose, I'll say, hey, man, didn't you see what I did at Texas Tech? And nobody would fault him for that.
You got to wonder if, you really don't think he'd ever leave Texas Tech to go to Texas, would he? I mean, he did go to Texas.
It's a bigger profile. You could probably recruit better. You have unlimited resources. I mean, I don't know how much it would be, but yeah.
That's pretty unbelievable. I think UCLA would be the one I would leave for because, again, it's quality of living. But yeah. I've also if you know anything about Chris Beard, I mean, this is a guy that, 5 years ago was at, Angelo State University. I mean, this is a guy that you look at Donnie in 15, 16, he goes to the tournament with Little Rock. Yep. You look at in 19, he's in the national championship game. It's quite amazing, really, what he's been able to do in such a short amount of time. Got to feel bad for UNLV as well. Where could UNLV be if?
If he actually stayed, closed the deal with that guy. I mean, look, you could probably argue the same thing, saying he would have went to the tournament, probably took UNLV to like a Sweet 16 and left, but at least he left the program better than he got it.
Thanks to everybody for watching. Plenty of people in here. Big Man and Donnie, the A-team back together. Yeah, we're going to try this out. We'll see if we can have Donnie on a little bit more frequently. Donnie's doing some things still at SBR. We don't hate SBR. We love Donnie. We don't really know that we like a lot of things going on there, but we do love Donnie. Donnie is a good guy. And, Donnie, on Saturday, you and I got into it a little bit. You did not agree with my comments about Sir Anthony Dominguez.
No.
And look, I get that. I mean, I'm good with it. I will say, Donnie, that I'm not going to lie and tell you that I don't think Sir Anthony was very good in the beginning of the season last year. He had a terrific, month run. But, I mean, Donnie, the facts are facts, and you like facts.
I do.
The truth of the matter is over the last 41 games of the season, he had a 4 ERA. It's just that simple. He has not been good at the start of the season. And for where you need him to be in that bullpen, for a bullpen that has some concerns, I would be worried if I was a Phillies fan.
Look, he actually pitched a little bit over his head last year. I mean, you talk about a rookie, 55 appearances, under a 3 ERA. So I like to take it more as a whole season because he's going through it for the first time. It's going to be a long season. He used to pitch in like a little bit shorter in the minor league system, and he's only 24 years old. So looking at it, just his pitches are there. He's going to go up and down. Like we all know, like Homer Bailey stinks. Like, every time you watch him, he stinks, and whatever the case would be. But Sir Anthony Dominguez, he's still young and he's a good pitcher. Is he, Craig Kimbrell of a couple years ago? No, he's not that. But I think he's going to be a good pitcher for a long time in the Major League Baseball.
Phillies last year demoted Hector Neris. Hector Neris had a 6 ERA, 7 ERA.
Yeah,
they demoted him. He came back, final 20 games of the season. He had an ERA at like 2. Again, it is early. I just see some concerns. Let me ask you, Donnie, you're a Philly fan.
Yeah.
What are you waiting on if you're them with Dallas Keuchel? I mean, what is the reasoning with that?
I think it's interesting, Jeff, because I don't understand why he doesn't have a job. And does somebody know more than what we would actually know, like if he's truly dead? Because I know some of the future numbers and the analytics look at it like he was falling off this year. I understand, but it's one of those teams where if you're like that top 5, top 6 team, and you're a little bit short at like 3, 4, and 5, like he would fit right in. It's not like we're talking about a team that's like, hey, we can't afford this. The Phillies can afford it. The Yankees can afford it. Houston can afford it. But I don't know if they're waiting to say, you know what, let me give these young pitchers another couple times through. Let's see if he's still out there. Because mark my words, if the Phillies are having a really good season, but their fourth, like Vince Velasquez is just getting torched, or he can't come around, or one of the younger kids can't, that's when these guys are going to come into play and say, you know what, you're not going to get a job this year. Why don't we give you 1 year, midway through the season, $16 million, and let's see what happens. Because that's when I think the deals will take place, once somebody breaks down who they think is supposed to be an upper-level type team.
I mean, Severino, I heard today that he's going to need an MRI. It hit a snag.
See, now that's something that the Yankees would dip in on. Yep.
Yeah. At what point do they take a shot with Dallas Keuchel, guy who's pitched in the AL and whatever? I just feel like if you're the Phillies, I mean, wouldn't you feel a lot better with that pitching staff if they were to go out and get a player like Dallas Keuchel? I mean, is he going to be an ace? No, but I think he's a good third starter. I mean, you throw him in. Look, I think Eflin and Pivetta pitched pretty well so far. We'll see if that continues. Yeah. But this lineup's real good. I'm pretty excited. Or I'm sure if you're a Phillies fan, you're pretty excited. Donnie, what are you down that college basketball's ending? You got to be down about that.
I like college. College basketball is great. It's always kind of interesting where wake up tomorrow and you have to remove it from your odds board, all season long. And we know the games have dwindled down and you get to this point, but it is a shame. What we're talking about, April 8th. And you got to go through what? May, June, July, August, September, October. Then you start getting the juices going where you have the midnight madness and stuff like that. And then you have the aircraft carrier games, as I like to call them, coming up with all the beginning of the stuff. It's a shame because in college basketball, not like before where you knew all the players, man, these guys switch teams so much. It's like a brand new team every single year on everybody's team.
Yeah, no, I've already been following the transfer stuff and all that kind of stuff. Quick question here from the chat. Where's Craig Kimbrell going?
Same thing.
It's a good question. I'm surprised he's not on a team. I don't know why, if you're the Cubs, you're not interested there.
I guess Cubs, you're just waiting for saying we don't really need you early in the season, and if it gets the red alert time, you'll accept our deal, because it's apparent that the dude wants $100 million, and he doesn't have a job, which is amazing with how much money these teams are making in baseball. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think a team like the Nationals, I would, if I was them, I'd have some interest. I know they have Sean Doolittle there, but outside of that, that bullpen's not very good. Cubs, I'm sure have interest. I mean, it's definitely interesting. We'll see where those two kind of go. Donnie, Masters coming up this week. Tiger Woods, the 4th favorite in the Masters, which over the last couple months, Donnie, I've kind of gotten more and more into golf, which
good.
It's a shame that we don't have the show anymore, because we could probably definitely get into this. I mean, there are so many guys to pick from. Do you get involved with the Masters, Donnie? I mean, I know you're not going to be picking on Tiger.
I love to watch him. Maybe you bring up a good point though. How many when you're taking for long shots and favorites and whatever it would be, it's 4 days. You know what I mean? So you can bet a long shot on a Thursday and get paid out beautifully by Sunday night with a legitimate play, and that's what I love.
I've actually been doing it recently. I did it the other week with the match play on Saturday. Kevin Kisner was 3rd, and I was thinking you know what, I'm going to grab Kisner here at 8-1, and it ended up coming in. Yeah, no, it's fun.
Is this your first time through the Masters? Like, were you really going to like take it serious and like, because the Masters by far is my favorite golf tournament of the year, just because it's like that new rite of spring. It's a beautiful golf course. Everybody has 4K, 5K TVs out there to watch it on. I love the Masters. I mean, I watch it all the way through, bet or no bet.
Yeah, I think in sports betting, sometimes you have to be willing to give things a chance. I remember years ago when I was a kid, I remember once in a while my father would put NASCAR on, and I think to myself, "What the fuck are you watching for?" and then I started betting on it. It just it got fun. It was interesting. It's cool to like break up Sundays and stuff like that. But I mean, golf's cool. I mean, I love the big prices, and when I hit that Molinari price last year in the British Open, I kind of got into it, but. I got some guys I have my eye on. I mean, John Rahm's a guy I have my eye on, and Tommy Fleetwood, is kind of interesting. And I think with the big boys, I'm kind of interested to see who Mike Francesa gives out, because I always kind of fade what he gives. But we'll see. Donnie, before we let you go, we spoke on Friday about on the show about Craig Carton being sentenced to 42 months. Yep. I saw today he will try to go to USP Lewisburg, which is not too far away from New York City. Let me ask you, what's your percentage of the likelihood that Craig Carton is on a major radio network in 5 years?
It's funny you asked that, Jeff, because I think the way that he played his card going in, because you saw him throwing everything out. Kids hate me, getting divorced from the wife, had a messed up childhood due to some circumstances. And the only reason I'm in this predicament here, and I meant to pay everybody back, is because I gamble so much on everything. I just can't stop it. So are we going to go ahead and say, hey, great, look how healthy this can be. Let's put him back. Because if he's going away for 3 years, imagine the jumps, Jeff, when we were live on the air last year when gambling just became approved in New Jersey, to how much different it's going to be now in 3 years. So when you come back to the radio in 3 years, isn't it pointing to 50% sports talk like, hey, LeBron's great, Jordan's great, and 50% breaking down the game at night and how it's going to cover the spread? How could he be in that environment and like with a straight face? And wouldn't he just turn right back into like a compulsive gambler? That's
the issue that you're going to have, because according to some of the things I've read, to go to the prison he wants to go to, he's got to go through GA and he's got to go through NA and like all that stuff. And I just don't really understand how he could feasibly go back to a radio job where you got to read ads, you got to read, how do you talk about gambling? I just don't see how he does,
especially in this market. Like he's going, like you read I read the NewJersey.com article where he's playing 5 hands at a time for 25 grand, and he won 3.9 million over 4 days. All those ads are going to be your entire sports radio station when he gets back. Hey, meet me down at the Borgata. I don't think that's such a good idea.
Right. And what's it going to look like if, when you go to like federal prison, you're going to be watched your entire life, because all they're going to do is say, well, let's get this little fuck to do something wrong and we'll be right there. If he starts getting into the same things again, it's like being a drug addict. If you get clean and then you go hang out down on Kensington Avenue, I mean, I'm not going to do drugs. Well, yeah, you might be a little bit more likely to do it. It's a shame. I hope he finds success, because I do think he is pretty talented, and there's not a lot of talented radio people left. I mean, you look at the hires these places are making; they're just retreads. But we'll see. It's definitely interesting, but definitely a fall from grace if you're Craig Carton. Donnie, good stuff. Good talking to you, man. We'll definitely have you on again soon. We'll do a little baseball or something. Maybe we'll do something down the road again.
You got it. By the way, Jeff, real quick on baseball tonight, you're probably going to hit the card.
Yeah.
I would love to hear your breakdown on this Dodgers-St. Louis game, because it is just exactly what we talk about. One-sided, looks like this team should get blown away with St. Louis, and the line is diving 78% of the tickets for no reason.
Yeah.
Going back,
I'm not so sure, though. I don't want to give up on Nicholas. I just don't. I don't know why. I like Nicholas. I believe in Nicholas. And I think sometimes in baseball, I had to learn the hard way for about a week straight with this fucking Cubs team. I've been on the Cubs like 3 or 4 times, and I lost all 4 of them. But I do think Nicholas, I'm starting to think that he has the ability. I know he has the ability. He went 5 innings in the last game. He gave up 3 runs, nothing terrible. They're at home. I don't love the Dodgers on the road. I mean, if you said to me, what would I like in this game? I would have picked the Cardinals to begin with. I also think Tehran Freeland, I think that's a decent first 5 under, maybe.
Yeah, because when I look at the game, like, I mean, Michaelis, Sierra number. I mean, again, we're talking about like 2 starts into the season. But everything that the Dodgers have done right has been, versus right-handed pitching. 436 weighted on base average, 164 weighted runs created, and then they're loading up lefties to get after Michaelis tonight. So I mean, it's really fascinating. But then the line, Jeff, opens at 130 at Chris, and now it's like a pick'em. It's fascinating.
I will say though, I mean, and I'd have to go and look back at this last year, but the team on Sunday Night Baseball that had to travel. It's always a kind of a fascinating.
No, you're right. You bring up a good point on that. But when you look at it, like, where are they going from? Denver, Colorado to St. Louis. So it's not that far away, and it is a night game. But to bring up the point on both of them, I thought there was a run also on the not the Dodger line. Who else played last night? It was the so Colorado's dropping. Where's that line at? Yeah, same thing, Jeff. Colorado plays last night, opens up at 145. They're down to minus 121. So both of those teams that played last night are getting faded, looks like.
Yeah, it looks like Baltimore's another team that's garnering some sharp money tonight. People like that side. That team, look, playing decent. I know they're off getting swept, but, that's a long trip for Oakland. From Oakland down to Baltimore. You're getting a decent price with the team playing okay right now. Donnie, one thing I will also not be on tonight is I'm still learning a little bit more about what we're going to get from the Coors Field fade this year, which is something that – I know you know about. Great Coors Field fade. But Donnie, good stuff. Love to your family, and thanks for coming on.
Hey, man, brother. Yeah, have a good show tonight.
Donnie, go ahead. Before we let you go, as I've said to my listeners, I gave Billions another chance, right?
Yes.
I watched the whole series.
Yes.
I watched the actual episode last night, Saturday night. Do you agree that was probably the best episode of the show?
I loved it. It's funny because I didn't see your Skype to me earlier. And 2 minutes before the show, I see it from earlier in the day. So I'm like, I wonder what this actually means if Jeff likes it and see how it is. So I'm watching. I'm like, damn, Jeff was so on point. It was awesome. It was. And I had some people on Twitter like last night, what show were you watching? That was terrible. I'm like, how is that terrible, that episode? It was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't. Awesome. Again, I had to. I think sometimes when you watch things, you have to give him two chances sometimes. I thought it was terrific. I was really interested in it. I'm starting to get sick of the Taylor character, to be honest. But he's
about to get bounced, though.
Yeah. Outside of that, I mean, Donnie, is there any person that's more suited for a criminal life than Axe? I think. Yeah, exactly. Imagine if he had the ability to kill people, his enemies. Yep. I'd feel he'd do quite well in the criminal world.
Or if he's his company Axe Capital got shut down by the SEC and they just went tout, he'd be pretty good at it.
Oh hell yeah, he'd be a hell of a handicapper. Good stuff, Donnie. Thanks for
awesome, brother. Yep.
Did you get a chance to watch Action yet?
I did not. The show from last night, I did not get a chance to watch it, but I did watch before. And Jeff, I know. Look, if I told you tonight, Jeff, and we're talking about 20 total players. Could you name 15 of the players tonight in these games tonight?
I don't know. I know some people can't, but I might be able to. I will say this. It's all about team. It's not about teams. It's about numbers tonight. So just make sure you guys understand that.
Jeff, make a T-shirt out. Put a Bet Online on there or the what's my bookie? Get a My Bookie shirt, Jeff, that says that slogan on it, and you'll sell millions.
At My Bookie, we bet teams.
There you go.
Numbers. All right, Donnie. Good stuff.
All right, brother. Be good, man. Have a good night. Good luck.
Cheers. Yeah. Donnie Rightside joining us. Good to hear from him. We'll have to try to get him on a little bit more frequent. It's always good to hobnob it up with Rightside VP. All right, guys. That'll be it. If you have any other questions, we'll stay on for another 5 minutes or so here. If you have any final words, you want to get a point out there or just ask a question, feel free to do it. Good show today. Good breakdown of the game. For me, again, I think I would be surprised if anyone gets to 60 here. I think this is a very low-scoring game. I think Texas Tech will win this game, and I think they will go off into the sunset, and Chris Beard will move on to another program. I think he's the guy that – I mean, why doesn't he have a shot at UCLA? He'd obviously be the guy I think they'd won. This week, starting tomorrow, I will have a Masters preview out. Again, it will not be necessarily me giving picks. but I'm going to bring on my golf guy. He's a guy that's given me some great selections over the last 6 months or so, and we'll talk to him. I'll give out a few things that I like. I'm kidding. The course field fade is fucking stupid. It's the dumbest thing in the history of the world. It was sarcasm, Blake. Do I like the Brewers and over versus the Angels? Can't say I looked at that one. The only game I really like in baseball tonight is St. Louis. Is Rick Barnes definitely not going to UCLA? I haven't read much about it today. According to many, he's deciding right now. But he's been offered $5 million a year to coach there. So, also a Knoxville burger joint, Stock and Barrel, has tried to sweeten the deal, saying that if he stays, he'll have free burgers for the rest of his life. So, I'm sure that will entice Rick Barnes to hang around a little bit longer. But if I could live in Knoxville or LA, I got a feeling I know where I'd go. It's Trey Jones. That was reported yesterday that he was coming back, and he should. He has no business in the NBA. Any thoughts on Phillies Nationals? No, not particularly. I saw The Mule yesterday, by the way. A very good movie. If you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend it. I do agree with certain people that it wasn't an overly great ending, but the movie was very good. I liked it a lot. Definitely something that I am into. Everyone have a great night. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the national title game tonight. I will be watching it. I'm sure at some point I'll be on Periscope, so make sure you join me for that. Thanks at all for joining us. What we'll do going forward is we're going to have probably Ski Profit start to join us every week at some point. We'll have Donnie, I'm sure, and we'll have our golf stuff this week. So make sure you join the channel. Always, if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe. And please go support our sponsors, guys. That's very helpful to me. You don't buy my picks or whatever, that's fine. Go support our sponsor. Get my bookie as your sports book. Use the promo code BMOC. It's very helpful to give things back. Most of the people that I have on, I do give something for to come on. Make sure you're helping out the show and using the promo code BMOC at MyBookie. If you guys are interested, if any of you are interested in my baseball plays, those will begin tomorrow. The best of the best on the email. Get in touch with me, bmocsports@gmail.com, bmocsports@gmail.com. It's very cost-effective, very easy, and we'll have some fun this summer betting NBA draft, NFL draft, all that stuff. So get involved, get in touch if you want to get on with me for the summer, bmocsports@gmail.com. You all have a great night. Enjoy the national title. Bye-bye.